Hi, Nicola. It's great to see you again.
So great to see you, Kathleen. It's been a while, too long.
Been a while, is right. Yeah, where did the summer go for us?
Yeah, it's hard to know as I just look out the window and I see signs for watch out the bears. And yeah, got to be careful this time of year here.
Oh, golly, that is something. That is not something we worry about in Cashel.
I bet you don't worry about that in cash.
But Nicola, what I'm noticing, and probably should have my overhead light on, our days are getting, our daytime is getting shorter already, which
Mhm.
I hate that part. I know I actually like autumn, but the shorter days can be
Yes.
challenging.
And I think it's where we are in Canada. I think it's pretty similar to where you are in
Yeah,
terms of the lights. So the same thing here, Kathleen, the exact same. And the days are falling so short. Of course, it's fall here. The days are
yeah,
falling so short, and I'm noticing quite a difference already. But it's beautiful here, Kathleen, in the fall. It's the most typically it's the most beautiful time of the year. Like I would say in Ireland, I love spring, but
yeah.
typically our rainy season, but here fall can be so beautiful.
Oh,
September.
yeah, you would have the foliage, the different colors on the trees, and
Yeah.
yeah, beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's really pretty. Not quite at the moment. We are surrounded with smoke now in the past weeks. Um, I have to say our weather has been really unusual this weather, Kathleen, this summer.
Yeah,
Had a pretty in the interior in Canada. I think it's been different in the coast, but we've
yeah,
had quite a wet summer, which is very unusual. Each day it was nearly like what Ireland used to be.
yeah.
Each day you had a bit of sunshine, a bit of rain, and so you couldn't really plan anything. And now at the end of the summer, I think we had 1 week of good, nice weather, and now we have smoke in the last 4 or 5 days.
Isn't that something now? Bears and smoke, definitely
Persian smoke.
different experience kind of for here, but it's sadly the smoke and the rain and the change. We had a much warmer summer,
We did.
which was beautiful. It was lovely to have, but again, it's kind of an indicator of change.
Yeah.
So, so
And
how was
lovely. That must have been lovely.
it was lovely. It was lovely, definitely with all the daylight and the sunshine was a beautiful combination.
There's something about waking up in the morning to a beautiful day, isn't there?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Walking outside is just beautiful.
And I got all my clothes dried outside too.
Oh,
Nicola,
that's,
you remember what a big deal that was
oh,
over here.
that's so lovely, Kathleen. Huh? That's so amazing. So how was your summer, Kathleen?
How was my summer was lovely. I'd have to say I took self-care to the max this summer. So I
Wonderful.
really did take care of myself. I had a few lovely holidays, not one, but actually
Mm-hmm.
three, which is
Wow.
kind of crazy, but it was wonderful. So we were in France, we were in Sweden, and we were in the UK with friends and family. So it really was lovely. So I'm kind of finding it hard to knuckle down now and get back to school, get back to my work.
Get back to school. I think that's the thing. Like, it's so different here because, where you live, it's so easy to hop on a plane for an hour
True, true.
and go anywhere. So I think sometimes, we see it differently here because flights are so much longer, huh, to
Yeah.
get places. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
you were working a lot this summer, I think, too, were you, Nicola?
Yeah, I mean, I spend the summers at the cabin. I've done so for the last
Yeah,
11 years, I think, with my kids. And every year has been different. When they were young, I'd send them off to, a camp for a day or two a week to try and do some work. And then at one stage, I would leave them in the house and I would go to shared office space for a day or two. Now they're working. And so every year has been different.
different.
And I think my youngest kid she discovered something new this year and she just loved being here. And so kids typically start working here in the summers when they're 14, and it's so great here, especially where I am out in a smaller town, because typically the kids in the bigger cities like Calgary cannot find work because there's so much unemployment now. But kids out here in the smaller towns, it's so easy for them to find work, which is fantastic.
And isn't it great that they can be at the cabin and work?
Yeah, it's so
So they're
fun.
not having to sacrifice that time to stay home and work.
Yeah.
I
No,
love the
it's
idea of the cabin. I must say, I just, because I had some experience when I lived in Minnesota up at the lake, and oh, I loved it.
yeah, and it's different in the summer. In the summer, it's the lake out here, and one of the biggest lakes, Lake Windermere. And then
Mm,
in the winter, it's a totally different experience because the ice freezes over, and then it becomes just a play field of ice hockey, hockey, of course, we call it, skating, cross-country skiing, and
mm.
so it just evolves. The year just evolves. It's a lovely experience here in Canada.
Yeah, it is. You really maximize every season, I think.
Yeah, for sure. You have to. The winter's so long here. You have to do something in the winter. Uh,
Mm,
Otherwise, you're going with the rest of the snowbirds south
mm,
of the border. Um, so really getting into winter sports, whatever that is, ice fishing, cross
mm.
country skiing, downhill skiing, hunting, whatever that
Lovely.
is.
Yeah, well, sounds good. So, what's a high point? If you were to pick
Mm.
one moment this summer, is there anything that jumps out at you?
Um, Well, there's a lot of things happening this summer, but I think for me, the high point would be I was fortunate to facilitate a retreat this summer, and it
Mm,
wasn't a cold retreat, but I was a guest speaker for an hour to do a presentation, and it was just right on the mouth of the lake in a beautiful setting for a leadership team, and that was just so exciting to help them provide value as they go through rapid growth. Um,
yeah.
so that was probably the highlight, getting ready for that and carrying it out. That was great. What about you, Kathleen?
I'll tell you now, but I just have one little question too. I'm wondering the idea of a retreat in a lovely spot with nature. Do you
Mhm.
think that had an impact on the learning and the participation of the people?
Absolutely. And I think it was very smart of the CEO
Yeah,
for
yeah,
picking a location like this because, I mean, it's one thing having it in Calgary, but to get away totally to a different scenery where everything's relaxed, right at the mouth of the lake, totally. Uh,
yeah,
what a beautiful location for any team. I think the
absolutely.
setting in itself just did most of the work.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. No, I was thinking, I think employers are smart who do choose lovely locations. Do you
mm,
know, we've both done work when you're in the office and people don't engage, I think, as much as they would away from the office
yeah.
because they're distracted. They think they have to go back and get a piece of work done. So that was great how that worked out.
Yeah, no, that was, I think there's totally something to be said from getting away from the office, relaxing location. It's partly a strategy session and then thinking about being resilient as you go through growth. So, um,
Mm,
yeah, that was wonderful. And I think my model really fits really well into retreats like that and helping teams. What about
yeah.
you, Kathleen? What was the highlight?
Okay. Well, I did have lots of fun and I enjoyed that and travel. My work highlight was working with the local women counselors here in Ireland, in Tipperary. And I have been working with them, and we use the word counselor not as it's the other spelling of a counselor,
Okay.
where they're in local government, and that's the
Mhm.
term that's used for them. So I've been working with them for a number of years as part of setting up a women's caucus. And
Mhm.
I just am impressed and amazed and delighted each time I work with them. So I left on a high, and we're going to continue with some capacity training. Do you know, I just think they're great, and the recognition that they need to keep putting in increasing their knowledge, increasing their resilience. We
Mm,
share that
yes,
too. So that was definitely a high point for me.
that sounds amazing. And every time I hear Tipperary, I can't help but burst into song. It's a long way, Tipperary.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So what is it looking like in the fall? I should share. I just dropped 5 hours on a flight. I just dropped my eldest daughter off to Halifax, and that's 5 hours on a flight away from here. And
Mm.
that was so hard, Kathleen, just to
I'd say it was.
go
You've
for.
talked about this even on this call, you mentioned the changes at the cabin, which really reflected the changes for you as a mother too, as your
Yeah.
girls grow up.
And
This must be challenging for lots of moms now, this time of the year
I think
with
so
new
because,
schools.
no matter what age they are, like dropping your kids off to preschool or whatever that is, kindergarten or
Yeah,
play school, there's so much change. My other daughter, she's going into grade 11. She is 16 and she's changed school this year and so
okay.
much change. And
Yeah,
as moms, I think we're trying to get back into work, but we're dealing with all this emotional overload of
that's
trying to
right.
keep the kids happy. And my oldest daughter, the profs are on strike in Dalhousie, so she's flown
Oh,
to the other side of the country and there's no classes. And so there's
gosh,
just so much going on. And I'm trying to teach my kids about change and be resilient. And they're having tough days and I'm having tough days. Um,
mm,
and it's trying to think, well, maybe there's some opportunity there too. Like I was just my youngest daughter was feeling really sad actually and having a really hard day. And then the next day she come home and she goes, Mom, I met a new friend. And so just the sadness along with a little bit of joy, and it's so many big emotions I find
that's right.
change.
And and how much in life I think your daughter experienced what we all need and
Mhm.
we all benefit from our connection that we met on a course, do you
Yes,
know, and discovered uh, common ground, and we've kept up a link since, even with the distance. Do you know,
yes,
and that enriches my life. And we can't do it on our own, and that's what I think moms of any age and women,
yes,
whether they're mothers or they're not, we don't have to do it on our own. There are people, whether they're friends, family, professional coaches like ourselves,
mhm,
who are there for you to
yes.
support through the difficult times and to learn new strategies.
Yes. And I
So
think that's it, Kathleen. That's really what it's all about. And that's what keeps us going. I did meet one of the other moms. My daughter's a friend of hers. And so she was going through some of the same stuff about her, empty nester for her now. And it just felt so good to share and support
yeah,
each other. So that's really what it's all about. Support, woman, connecting with other women, helping each
right.
other out, isn't it?
That's right.
Love that you
Which
brought that out.
makes me think of a new offering of mine, which I'm going to be launching. I have had a few groups already, but uh, I've done a lot of one-to-one coaching, but now I'm also doing group coaching
Mm,
and maximum of 6 women. And just that connection is so important.
mhm.
There's a benefit of being one-to-one, but there's also a benefit of getting support and accountability from a few other people.
Yes.
So
And
what's on the horizon for you, Nicola? Anything you'd want to put out there?
well, I'm actually doing a workshop next week for C-suite leaders, leaders that are kind of it's lonely at the top, and again, it's a peer. I'm a guest speaker, and it's a peer group that are there to support each other, kind of the same thing, to help
Yeah,
each other through change, rapid growth, change, and help them to be resilient.
mm,
So really help giving them the tools for that. But yeah, I have a busy September and looking ahead into the fall and forward to connecting with you as well, Kathleen. And yeah, getting back to the Irish Club here in Calgary as well and
yeah.
joining the singing. I'm not a natural singer,
And
but joining the choir again.
And you were here this summer too, weren't you, in Ireland?
I was here in the summer and yeah, I presented an academic paper, my first paper at an academic HR conference in Belfast, which was a pivotal moment for
Well
me.
done. Well
Um,
done.
that's pretty hard coming from a non-academic background, but I feel really proud of myself for doing
Yeah,
that.
you should, Nicola. You should. That was amazing.
Yeah. And so I love getting back to Ireland. I'm coming back in December again for a wedding. Love coming back and forward, but just a little bit of fun here. I was at the Irish choir in Calgary, and we had to sing in Gaelic, and so
Oh,
so that was new for me here.
gosh, yeah, that would stump me a little bit, I'd have to say.
Yeah. So what's fun for you coming up, like work? And I know you're so amazing at that, Kathleen, helping women connect and support each other. That's a real strength of yours. What else is coming up for fun? Any more travel in the fall, or what does that look
We
like?
are, yeah,
Cashel?
believe it or not, we're going to Portugal in October, which
Okay.
will be lovely. It'll kind of shorten the winter because we'll hopefully get the sunshine. I'm going to get fit again. I think I've been a bit lazy over the summer, so
Mhm.
this coming week I'm starting back with Pilates and aqua aerobics, and I'm looking forward to that. Routine. I can fall out of routine, and I know how important. I always encourage my clients to have a good morning routine, and yet I can fall by the wayside. So I'm back in the saddle, as they say.
I think we can all fall by the wayside, Kathleen. And instead of kind of going, and it's just, that's okay. That's natural. And I think September, there's always two new times a year for me.
I
It's
agree.
September and January.
I
And
agree.
so it's getting back into things after the little
Yeah,
bit unscheduled summer, getting
yeah,
back into routine, thinking about what's successful. I'm going to the physio appointment after this, Kathleen. And so again, it's for me trying to be fit. It's so important, isn't it?
yeah. It really is. It is physically, but emotionally as well.
Yeah,
Do you
that
know? But
connection.
you're right. There's two starts, and I agree. I think September, it's like I feel like going out and buying my new copybooks and
Yes.
pencils, and
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
loved. I always loved that. But every day is a new start too.
every day is a new start. And if you
You
mess
know,
up
so not to
today,
beat ourselves up when we didn't get it right yesterday, that we just keep going and have a laugh. I think that's what we have that in common, and I think it's just an important thing.
so what would you, that's true, Kathleen. Love that. What would you like to leave the listeners with today?
I'd ask each of you, what are you thinking of doing
Hmm.
this this new year,
This is-
this new school year? You may not be going back to school, but what's your
Mhm.
intention goal going forward?
Yeah. And
How about you?
I like that. And I would say, it's a tough, September's a busy time of year. Kids go back to school, lots of change. And for moms to take a little bit of time for yourself. There's so much going on now, so many papers coming from school, so much happening, activities. Take a little bit of time for yourself, be kind to yourself. I'll realize there's a lot on and really good, try to get a little bit of time for yourself. Just take care of you.
Yeah, be easy on ourselves. We can be so hard and our expectations can be so
Yeah,
hard on ourselves. So going forward until we meet again, let's have a bit of fun. Let's get some work done and
yeah. Great.
whatever else.
Wonderful. Take care, Kathleen. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.